Hey guys. So a few years ago, I actually went through a performance phase. Yes, I am a music student. As much as a lot of people don't believe me, I was still a music student. Still am till now. So I had to do a final examination, and I was asking around, like any accompanists that were up to accompanying me, helping out with my final exam, and capable of doing it, because the crazy songs that drummer plays were just like insane. So somebody actually suggested a friend of mine, and yeah, I worked with her. I had an awesome time with her. But every time my friend Mochi, the bassist, and I would look at her or talk about her or think about her, we would get PTSD traumas. We would get like true traumas. Like every time I just think about this person, the only music that plays in my head was that exact final examination piece. So I suddenly get all jittery. And even scarier is that she actually performs right next to my drum tutor, Terrence Ling. So how small is the world? Well, I guess you tell me. So today, to confront my fear of PTSD and to actually talk to her about her experience, I have with me my very good friend, Peng. Hey, how you doing?
Hello. Good. I'm good. Thank
Yeah,
you for having me here.
yeah.
It's like long time never see. Like I think this is the second time we met. Like after the project, like after
After,
your
yeah,
performance.
yeah. I think this is less casual, less scary. Like it's more informal this
Yeah,
way.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's
So
fun.
yeah. So how you been? What have you been up to?
I'm okay. Like I'm teaching now, and I'm also like performing for some gigs. But of course, now because of the pandemic, I think all of the performers got influenced, and not many gigs nowadays. So actually, now I focus on teaching more.
Hmm. But you're
Yeah.
one of the lucky ones that actually got to still perform even during the pandemic, right?
Uh, yeah, I think so, but not really, not many gigs as usual. But I have the most recent one I perform is for the New Year Eve,
Uh huh.
but that one is under Yippee. If you know, Yippee is actually a new app
Hmm.
that is similar to, I can say, Instagram or something like Facebook. Also, they want to create a new content there. So I
Hmm.
was performing for the countdown show, with
Awesome.
some Chinese artists.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's yeah my latest gig. Yeah.
But you've
So,
but you've always been performing, like even during, because I remember one of the big shows I remember at the top of my head is there was a jazz marathon that happened somewhere around September, October, or something like that. Was it
November.
November?
Yes.
Okay, so I just have to clarify, ladies and gentlemen. So what happened was, every year there's a Malaysian Jazz Piano Festival that happens in KLPAC, the Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Center. And then last year, because of obvious reasons, they had to move it and replan it and plan it again. And eventually, what they decided on was to have a small jazz marathon for, like, what was it, like a whole day? I think 2 days.
Yes.
What, one day?
Oh,
One
for
day
one
at,
day.
yeah, one day at Royal
For
Chulan Hotel,
no
something like
no
that.
no 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 no.
Oh no.
For it is at Royal Selangor Pewter.
Oh, Royal Selangor. Yeah.
Yes.
So
It's
don't
not
take
in
my
the
word for it.
hotel.
So how was that?
It's an actual very interesting place. It is in the actually factory. So
Mhm.
we are actually facing the factory area where they do the pewter and everything. But of course, that day was a Sunday, so I think they are not working. So the day before, they actually went in earlier to set up already and test run everything, so that to make it to make sure that it's smooth. So what is special about this jazz marathon is to actually raise fund for this project called Malaysian Real Book. So I'm not sure whether you all know about this real book stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
Yeah. I saw that. We'll talk about that in a bit, but yeah, I'm very
Hmm.
intrigued to actually ask you about that.
Yeah. So this jazz marathon actually involved a lot of band, and I was playing for two bands. So I think it's really good to play music together with the bands and like see the musicians in person and talk about our experience during this pandemic and how we deal with it.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the very big project that we have been doing, like the jazz marathon. Yeah.
And it's so amazing. It's not just how the musical scene was set up, but when the camera pans out and then there's that backdrop of, like you said, that factory at the back, right? That
Yes,
was,
yes, yes.
yeah, that's a very interesting.
Amazing, right?
That's
Yeah.
the paradigm shift of where the performances used to happen, and then now it's happening with that background.
Mm.
So that's the
Yes.
new norm of performances, I would say.
Yeah. And they actually offer us a visit and to do our own pewter bowl ourselves before the concert, like before the live Facebook live. Yeah, so it was a good experience to work with them and also the jazz community, of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So if you were to compare that with your past experience, because you do perform like a lot of places, right? Like if I'm not mistaken, like you were doing some performances in Chao Team, and also was it, which one would you prefer?
Uh, Prefer. Not to say prefer, but every place have their own style of doing that. Like jazz marathon is really for the jazz community
Mhm.
because well, first of all, like we, as you say, like we have a jazz piano festival every year, every January actually.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's usually the last week of January. So I think this is something. It's like a community project. But for Zhao Team is how to say? It's also like a how should I explain that? It's like a weekly thing. Like they is a performance venue. It's a performance venue for all the musicians who want to perform, and they actually have dine-in customers. So it's for the customers to enjoy the music and of course to promote jazz music because the owner of Zhao Team is really really nice. He loves jazz and he would like to promote this scene.
Mhm.
You usually like I think a lot of musicians experience that, like a lot of wine bar or restaurant. Initially, they want jazz music. Like they will tell you, "Oh, I want a very chill kind of jazz."
Mhm. Mhm.
Then they will ask you to play maybe "Fly Me to the Moon." So everyone knows this, right? So, but other
Yeah.
than "Fly Me to the Moon," maybe they don't really know other jazz standards that is like really into the traditional jazz.
Mhm.
So after that, to please the audience, then we will slowly request. They will slowly request pop stuff. So in the end, it will end up with the um, pop music.
Yeah.
We end up playing pop music in the restaurant or wine bar and everything just to
And
please
that's
the
a jazz.
audience. Yeah, it's the jazz. So, but for Zhao Team, it's kind of different. Yeah, we can control and we can decide what we want to do, and the boss like really support us. Yeah, so including this jazz marathon, he is involved in this project. So his name is John Teo. So John is really helpful and to promote this. So if you were asking, ask me how about um the jazz marathon and Zhao Team, right? It's a total. I think it's not totally different thing. Yeah, kind of different but similar in a way.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think Zhao Team is a good place for us to explore. And recently they have a project with Grab. I'm not sure whether you know about that.
No
Yes,
idea. Grab,
Grab.
grab
So you
jazz.
can, yeah, Grab Jazz. So you can actually buy the tickets from Grab. I think it's a they collaborate.
Uh-huh.
So I think they started the show already last week. So you can buy the tickets from there. And I am also playing on 20th of January with another band called Frozen Marks. Yeah. So that's how they keep the music alive lah.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so that's the place where jazz music is alive, I think. Yeah.
So how did
So, mm,
so how did you get close to these big names like John Teo and Michael Verapan and all? Did you just like when before you graduated, they were just like keeping an eye on you, or like, oh, this girl's good. Yeah, we're just gonna recruit her
oh,
after now.
recruiter, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I graduated from UPM, same school as you. So I think what we experience is to perform in the jazz night, right? So I think that's also a good chance for us to play with a lot of musicians. Like usually, Dr. Chan, our head of department, no, our head of department of jazz lah,
Yeah.
right? So he will invite a lot of musicians from outside sometimes. So we get to perform with outsider. And of course, I'm very lucky to have Dr. Chan and Mr. Tei Xiang as my lecturer when I was studying in UPM that time. So that time, Xiang actually taught me a lot of stuff, like how to perform, how to arrange, how to deal with people. Really,
Yeah.
this is a very interesting thing, I think.
The
So
business side, right? Yeah.
a business side, as in like how to become a good musician, to have a good attitude and everything. So yeah, this is how he taught us. So after that, I have the chance to do my internship in Starmount Studio. So that time I get to see a lot of production, how they do the production and stuff. So I think that accumulate my experience too. So while I'm in university, I see how people record music, how they produce and stuff. So after I graduate, I actually joined Malaysian Jazz Piano Festival's competition. Yeah,
Oh.
so that's how I know our jazz jazz father Michael Virapan.
Yeah.
Also, he was my judge lah for my recital that time when I graduate, my graduation recital. So that time I think we talk a little bit also. Yeah, so that's how I know Michael Virapan. And after 1 year, actually, like teacher Chosiang asked me to perform in the jazz festival. So at that time, I formed my own band. It's like I formed my own trio with your teacher, Terence Ling, and another bassist called Jen Wei.
Yeah.
So we play together. So just for the festival. But after that, a lot of things come in. Like I met my vocalist, Celeste, in a jazz bar that time in Puchong. So I also want to thank Leslie because he's the one who asked me to perform there, and I got to know a lot of artists, a lot of singers and musicians from there actually. The place is called Soul Liquid that time. So that's where I know Celeste, my vocalist. Then, so it happened that Eddie, my saxophonist, also came back from UK. So he also came and jammed. So we just jammed together and we formed this band called JSY. So we get to perform for a lot of events from that time lah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you want to say the earlier time, actually I also got my hotel contract in One World Hotel with Kira. So Kira is my junior, your senior. So she sings. Yeah, so that time she sings, and with Mock on bass. So 3-piece band, we have to play like 6 days. Every day you have to play 4 sets of 45 minutes. Yeah, and the salary is okay. Actually, it's considered very low, but I take that as an experience to practice every day. To practice every day with Kira and Mock. So we actually decide, okay, let's do new repertoire. So that's the time we build more songs, build our song list that time. Mm. So then I work with my band JSY. There's a new place called Imaginarium. So
Yeah.
it's more to like a Chinese scene, but I want to say actually I grow a lot of connection, a lot of I grow from there. Yeah. So that time Leslie was also um, a curator for that place. So he asked us to play more of Chinese jazz. So that's the time I arrange a lot of pop songs into jazz. Yeah. So that's how I venture into this lah. Mm. So yeah, I got a lot of connection from there and start to build up, rearrangement, and slowly people will find you for rearrangement jobs
Yeah.
like that. Mm,
All in the span of what, 4 years? I think.
I think about 5 or 6 years already.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
2020 doesn't count, so like 4.5.
Okay.
Before we
Yeah.
go
So
on, yeah, before we go on, I just had gotta ask, what does JSY stand for? I've always wanted to know.
oh really? Oh,
Yeah.
just Y stand for you guess? Can you guess anything?
Just
Nothing.
just sing yourself. I don't know. I wouldn't even
Sing yourself. Okay. JSY basically is stand for 91.
Okay.
91 is 91. Okay, so basically we are all born in 91. Oops.
Oh, okay.
That reveals our real age. But yes. Yeah, so I mean the original band lah. So now we actually change basis. Yeah. So I think he's not 91.
Is that why he
Yeah.
left? Because he's a bit older than you guys.
Oh no! I mean the original Junwei was
Yeah.
91. Then after that we were finding bases that suits our style. So in the end, Ken Chong joined
Ah,
us.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we are quite lucky to have him lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
And it's
yeah. I think
very
that's mm,
interesting how you said it yourself, because you were pushed to that limit to actually practice and practice and practice for the purpose of performance and not the purpose of actually sitting down to do an exam and sitting down to um, you know play something and having like a 3 month period just to actually learn this piece, build up your craft and playing it to its perfection. But instead you are pushed to 45 minutes of 4 sets. That's like 3 hour 3 hour sets per night for 6 nights a week. So would you say that that was really the time that you went from level 5 to like level 10? Well, I would say at that point you were like past that level, and that's why you got the job, right? Yeah.
mm, um I would say the practice is really good to build your stamina.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also how you deal with customer also. It's like customers sometimes they will request songs and you need to know what is popular now also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how we keep track with the music industry now. Yeah, so that's how I get close to the big names you say. I
Yeah.
think the big names I got like most of them I think really from my teacher Xiang,
Yeah.
really. Yeah, so I got a lot of chance from there to know his musician WBC,
Mhm.
and also myself actually I like to I like to join a lot of jazz camp.
Oh,
Yeah, like after I graduate, right? I still have the how to say I still have the student's identity. You know,
oh
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
after
yeah.
graduate, you are still like, oh, I'm very new. I want
Very
to go
fresh.
and very fresh. So I
Yeah,
want to learn. I want to learn more. Not to say now I'm not fresh and I don't want to learn, but that time, that time, of course I still want to learn now. But yeah, due to the pandemic, it's like, okay. But um, I still learn at home lah. For that time, a lot of jazz camp. Actually, I would encourage juniors to join as many as you can. Like, like me, I think the first camp I joined is Taiwan in Taiwan. It's called TISJA, Taiwan International Summer Jazz Camp. I think so. They actually have um, a lot of good lecturers, a lot of good tutors from the states also. So from there, I know a lot of tutors, and I
mhm,
actually ask them a lot of questions from there lah.
yeah.
Like I joined Taiwan, Singapore, and Thailand also have very good one. The in Rangsit University. Yeah, I will encourage you all to go and join also. So yeah, and I also got to perform in Wa Meet Jazz in Tokyo. I think that's the very nice experience. So yeah, I would like to encourage everyone to explore this jazz camp in the world if possible.
And to actually go out and travel when we're all allowed to, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, last time is usually a good time for us
Yeah.
to travel, and you get to see how's the jazz scene there. Yeah.
So for those of you who are interested, I just have to let them know because of academic reasons, right? This is quite an academic podcast. So Teacher Siang, he's one of the bigger names in advocating for jazz in Malaysia. And the other one that Li Peng mentioned was Professor Chan Cheong Jan. He's a jazz lecturer in UPM, but he also does a lot of work with special needs students, special needs children, and he actually teaches a multitude of music languages and music subjects in UPM. Yeah.
Yes, and I think I also like to thank Dr. Chan who actually brought me to Japan that time. Yeah, so that time, I'm not sure whether you know Sayuri.
Yeah, yeah.
So Sayuri is actually a marimba player with Down syndrome. So I knew her. I think during the last year I studied in UPM, I got to perform with her together. Yeah, so Dr. Chan gave me a chance to work with her, also with a few of my classmates. Um, then um, her father actually got a grant for us to go over to Japan and explore this music, special music education.
Yeah.
Because Sayuri actually has two teachers, piano teacher and marimba teacher. So Sayuri's father always like feel very pity about the Malaysia scene because yeah, it's
Yeah.
like not many
Understandably so.
hmm,
Yeah.
it's like not many chances for the special kids to perform or learn or explore. So I think still lack of something here. So
Mm.
Sayuri's father actually want us to venture into this. So he actually sent me and Xiao En. So Xiao En is actually my classmate that time, very good classmate. So both of us actually went to Japan to stay for about a month. Actually, they just offer 2 weeks, 2 weeks to for us to stay, but we extended another 2 weeks and explore ourselves. So 2 weeks in Kyushu. We stay in these two teachers' house and observe how they teach not only Sayuri but other students with Down syndrome or other special needs. So that's the time I was quite interested in music therapy. Although I didn't study music therapy during my university, but actually after I came back from Japan, Dr. Indra actually kind of guided us for a few months, yeah, to teach the special kids here. Yeah, so it's really not easy because what I observe the in the month in Japan is what normal human learn one step. You really have to break it in 10 steps
Yeah.
for the special kids.
Yeah.
So it's really not easy, and you have to have a very strong mentality, because sometimes even you break it into 10 steps, they can't learn it. You have to break it into 100 steps. So it's not easy. Yeah, and I remember Dr. Chan once told me, like, actually everyone has our special needs and our shortcoming. It's like, honestly, I'm a very city girl. It's like I don't know how to ride a bicycle.
Mhm.
I don't really know how to swim properly. So you throw me to the countryside, right? Maybe I can't survive. Something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like you throw Down syndrome kids in this very competitive society. They can't survive because that's beyond their ability.
Capability.
Capability. So we have to deal with this. So after that, I realized about this, and actually it applies on my teaching also. Like, even though I'm teaching a normal student, sometimes I also will break it into a few steps for them, just for them to um, remember or understand easily. So that's how my journey there lah. So after I come back, I teach, and under Dr. Indra's guidance, I try to teach for a few months too, but I kind of feel I don't really have much time to um, study about the music therapy and teach them in a proper way. I remember someone told me, like, there's no proper way, like, not really a proper way to teach them. You can create your own way and
No.
creative, be creative,
Yeah.
as long as it helps them. But it really very time consuming. And that time I got some gigs and all to focus on. So I decided to just pass it to other friends who can really help them. So that time I actually stopped teaching special kids already. But of course, I still love to see them and try to play for them. Yeah.
I'm so happy that you experience a whole multitude musical journeys. It's not just your jazz playing. And
Of course.
yeah, are you actually up to talking about music therapy? I have like 10,000 questions.
Oh,
No, I'm
sure,
just
sure,
no.
sure.
Let's stick to the let's stick to the list. Yeah, just to not go. I don't know. We're trying to keep this under 1 hour. Maybe we don't want to go for like 3 hours.
Okay. Sure,
Yeah,
sure, sure. So,
yeah. So now that you already have those points of music education and music therapy with special education and your performances and your jazz camps and all, do you see that there's a point of connection, like besides your teaching now? Is there actually a point of connection that you see possible for your future endeavors? Maybe like uh, some kind of music business opportunity that people could jazz for special needs or
uh,
something like that.
uh, okay. Talking about this one connection. Mm, music business, I actually haven't think about that. Actually, I always want to have if possible, a kind of 3-in-1 or 4-in-1 thing. Like, you have a proper jazz academy, you have a proper jazz stage, and maybe jazz cafe.
Oh yeah.
So far, I think no, that's just a dream. So I'm not sure how to do that yet, but I can see all this connection. Um, I think helps in. I'm not sure, but it kind of is kind of my everything, like performance, gigs, and teaching. It's all related, and it helps. It helps. Like sometimes, like my students, I also will ask my musician friends to help them to play for their recital or their
Mm-hmm.
show. Yeah, so it's really that circle.
Yeah.
So there's no boundaries like between the industry, like even production. Yeah.
I will assume your
Mm,
ideal setting is something like, okay, so I'm going to perform, and then you just turn your chair. Okay, now you're going to teach. And then you just turn your chair here, and then so you don't
got
really
a
need to go.
cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you turn and then you got the studio to record
Yeah. Immediately.
covers and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, I kind of looking forward to this if there's a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. So actually, yeah, one more thing that I do, maybe I think you're also curious about is to um how to promote others' performance, right?
Yeah, because
So
I do remember that you actually on top of it being a spirit within the music circle, you did actually tell me about how uh, people will get you to promote their music so that they would promote yours, and so it becomes like um, an esprit de corps thing, whereby everybody is helping each other out by putting their music out there, and even the posters and all, right?
okay. So basically for that one, I'm very lucky to know the owner of Morgan Fields. Do
Oh,
you know
oh,
Morgan Field? The
yeah,
place where we eat steak and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
So the Mid Valley branch.
Yeah.
So the owner is actually my good friend back then. We joined a musical. Oh yeah, so back then I think I was quite active lah. Like during my first year, I tried to join the audition for a musical. From a UCSF student, I think. Yeah, so we met there. He was singing the bass, and then I was playing the keyboard. So after that, he opened a restaurant. Then he said, "Hey, why don't you come and perform in my restaurant?" Then I say, "Yeah, sure." So from there, I can't promise him to play every day, right? And
Yeah.
they also will feel boring to see me every day. So that's the time he asked me to, like, maybe you can find your friends or musicians friends to do this together, to build up the stage together. So that's how I started to ask my friends, ask my musicians, or ask other musicians to come and play. So I started to arrange the schedule for them. So in another way, they call this job agent job.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, so we try to do that. Then I think it was pretty well, and we actually, because have you been to Morganfield before?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
In
something
Mid
like
Valley, right?
TGIF kind of thing.
Yes, yes. And they actually have very, very small stage. Really,
Yeah.
really small. So
It's more of just like a platform. Just like that.
yes,
Yeah.
it's like a staircase, a bigger
Yeah.
staircase. So we performed there. We even do a Greatest Showman tribute there. So
Nice.
with like eight piece band. Yeah, it's quite amazing. So from there, I mean, like we can see each other's passion lah to build this music industry. So honestly, music industry kind of related to connected to F&B. Really,
Yeah.
it's like even Zao Team is also like F&B, like wine bar and everything. We need to tie together one actually. So sometimes we have to just be considerate and understand um, what brings the best for us lah. So after that, the owner actually opened another sky bar in Chansali called Hall Away KL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he also need bands there. So he asked me to arrange. So that's how I get the job there. So Hall Away KL. Then after that, Sky Dome. Sky Dome is a steamboat restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I got to work with a lot of musicians, also the owner of the restaurant. Mm.
Yeah.
So that's the connection part is very important
Yeah.
to how to say um to maintain a good relationship with everyone and have good attitude, be punctual, and yeah, be efficient. That's
Yeah.
the very important criteria lah to
Mhm.
work in this music industry, I think. Also willing to learn, I think.
Yeah. You actually mentioned something very interesting. I actually never drew that parallel because uh, for those of you that do not know, actually, jazz used to start out with I mean, I won't go into the history of jazz, but then there was that phase that it was tied closely to dance music. So you will go to any kind of jazz clubs was always associated with different kinds of dancing, right? So now, actually, you brought up a very interesting topic whereby the culture in Malaysia is actually tied with that cafe, pub, the F&B side. Because, if anything, Malaysians are all about the food that we take, right? Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but is that strictly a Malaysian thing? You did mention that you went to different parts of the world and even Tokyo. No? Was that strictly a Malaysian thing? Like, did you see
No,
that
no.
most, or is it an Asian thing?
Not really. I think Malaysia, I mean like in Malaysia it works like that. But for other countries, I think maybe they appreciate music more than us.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like those like jazz for like something like No Black Tie
Oh yeah,
or um have you been to Blue Note?
yeah. I
Of
no, but
course.
I know that place. Yeah.
Mm. So I think I went to Blue Note in Taiwan and Japan before. I think Taiwan. Yeah. So that one they really emphasize on the music instead of the food. Yeah. So I think in other countries they have more places like that is more emphasized on the music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But for here, maybe you like go to the restaurant or pub or wine bar. Maybe food and social is what they want instead of music. Music maybe is just like a background,
Mm-hmm.
but for there, it's different. Mm,
It's
yeah,
very interesting how you put it because yeah, I agree with you. In other parts of the country, it's like okay, we want to put this kind of food, this kind of drinks, and if it's a pub, it has to have this kind of music, and if it's like a
yeah,
bar, it has to have this kind of music. But then in Malaysia, it's exactly like you said. It's more of a okay, we gotta put this menu and then settle all the other aspects of running a restaurant. I wouldn't know, uh, and then the music scene comes later, like whatever gets slapped on. But
yeah,
then
yeah.
the one that you were talking about, your friend who actually handles Morganfield, he actually called you, like he personally contacted you and asked if you had a band, and then it grew up to Holloway. So there was actually that growing culture of associating live performance, not strictly on jazz, but the live performance setting with pubs and bars and eateries and restaurants, right?
Yes, yes, yes. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. That's why I kind of appreciate the opportunities to work with them lah.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. Now let's thank you so much for sharing about that. No, before we actually end, I do want to just touch one small part, small but big part. You did mention the Malaysian Real Book.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
So I saw a recent, not quite recently. I think like a few months ago, you were just like taking buddy pictures with the jazz Malaysian Real Book, and you were like right next to Michael Verpen, and I was like,
Oh,
oh
okay,
wow.
okay.
Yeah. So what is that,
Oh,
and how's it been going?
okay. So for now, I mean, like, I am part of the young blood team together with Adriel and Fujing.
Uh-huh.
So we are helping. So far until now, I think I mean, our part like didn't do much, but I think the committee is doing the real book already. So what they are doing that time was to choose 200 200 songs. They have to choose 200 songs for the book, and of course you also need to apply the copyrights and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And not all the songs you can use like freely, or maybe with maybe a token of appreciation. So they need to deal with that after we come up from with the song list. Yeah. So that time was quite struggling for everyone, I think, because they need to decide. Because Michael Rappan and Mr. Teja Sang was the were the are the main person of this project. So they kind of guide us how to choose the song. Like, is it important um, for the history of Malaysia, and is the melody and harmony good enough for the students to learn? Because one of the reason for this real book is also for the music students to learn about the history and compositions of Malaysian.
Mm-hmm.
Other than documented to document it. So a lot of criteria that we need to think about. Yeah. So for me, actually, I am in the Chinese committee. So they have a lot of categories, like Malay songs and singer-songwriter songs. What else? A lot.
Uh,
So
okay.
I'm in the Chinese one. So we have to choose about 10 or 15 songs for the Chinese session. So of course um, they need Chinese musicians who know more about the Chinese history.
Mm.
So Mr. Teacher Xiang is of course the one of the main person again. So he asked me whether I want to join the committee to choose the songs for the real book, and also a lot of Chinese scenes musicians. So that's how we are planning that. So after we come up with that, if um, the copyright is okay, then they will start transcribing. So they have a team of UCSI students to transcribe it. So they transcribe already. They have to let the main committee um, like Wheeler, Whaley, Julian, they all um, to check. So even the font, the chord progression, whether it's correct, or they want to change the chord or reharmonize it so that it's easier and better for the book.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part. I think they are in this progress lah.
Yeah.
So this year, yes. So originally the Jazz Piano Festival is the last week of January.
Yeah.
Then they want to launch this book, but everything is postponed to April
Oh,
tentatively.
okay. Uh-huh.
So probably that time the real book will be born and everyone can
Yeah.
use it already.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are interested, also you can buy it online now. I mean, pre-booking.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Mm.
opened the free booking like around Christmas, if I'm not mistaken, like a week before Christmas. Yeah.
Actually, during the jazz marathon also.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
during the jazz marathon. So yeah, a lot of Malaysian music, a lot of good music actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
from Pre Ramlee, like
So
Sudirman
yeah.
to a lot.
To
Yeah.
even like Jimmy Boyle, you know. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm very sure a lot of music students are as well. Not just the jazz students, but like every kind of person that actually consider themselves musician in Malaysia. I
Mm.
always see
Yeah. So.
the thing that I found that this is very important as a source is because before the inception of this idea of this Malaysian Real Book, right? Nobody ever thought of actually collecting all these songs together and putting it into a book. It's oh, you know that Sudirman song, you can just Google and then you find the chord progression and so on, and you will get like 5, 6 different variations, and it's down to your
Yeah.
capability.
Correct.
But then you just open up a proper website and you find some Western kind of music or any kind of Western songs, and then you find the actual chord progressions from the sometimes it's from the singer themselves, the artist themselves. So that could it could be said that in a way that's why the history of Malaysian music actually degraded to a certain point, or rather, it never became as big as it could have because we
Mm.
never thought to actually value the um, the works of our past Malaysian uh, ancestors. So, so now that this book actually captures the soul of Malaysian works, do you think that there would be volume 2 and volume 3, and would you get like? Is there like a future plan to get sponsorship to actually get this not only within Malaysia but to get this out there as well?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm not sure about volume 2 or 3, but I think their target is to get the volume 1 done first.
Yeah.
So of course they would like to make it worldwide. That's the I think that's what they want to do. What we want to do. Maybe next time when you go to the States or go to Tokyo or go to anywhere, go to Thailand, you will bring this book to jam. Everyone can jam this book other than the real book.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's the thing we want to do.
But even then, there's a distinction that when you said the real book, I totally know what you mean. But then now, hopefully, with another 2, 3 years, like half a decade down the road, we would have to distinguish between the American real book and the Malaysian real book. And of course,
Yes.
yeah, like other kind, I'm not sure about you, but me personally, I would hope that I was thinking like, wait, does that mean like Japan should like come up because like a lot of Japanese music people literally call them
Japan real book.
yeah, exactly, like J-pop and then K-pop and then J-rock and all this even you said like there's actually a genre called like there's a team that works on the Chinese side, so why not there be a book called Mando Pop Real Book or something like that? So eventually it would spread, right? So this is where it starts. This is where like the birth of Southeast Asian jazz starts, right?
Mm,
With the accumulation of
mm,
all this. Don't you think so?
yes. Yes, 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 of course, of course. Of course, Mando Pop, Canto Pop, they already maybe not in the real book format, but I'm sure they have their version already. Yeah. But I think this is a good start lah for Malaysia itself. Mm.
Yeah. And it's sad that it took us until now. It's both sad and encouraging that it took us until now to actually realize that, we have to choose 200 songs. It's not like, can we raise up to 200 songs? Oh, not enough
Mm.
200. Maybe you can just get 100. But now it shows that without a doubt that there are a lot of Malaysian works. And even more so, there are a lot of good Malaysian works. And you have to choose. You have to limit to 200. Was that actually a big
Mm.
problem? Were there like more than 200 actually?
Uh, there are more than 200. Just that, just that Yeah, with the copyright issue also lah.
Yeah, that's true.
So quite a lot of work to do with that. Mm.
So thank you so much for sharing with all your experiences from your past and even what you're doing right now. Do you have like anything you want to say to the younger generation of musicians? Like some words of encouragement you would like to say?
Mm, to the younger one, I think for now during the pandemic, um, I think something has changed. Um, Also, some of the way we do music also change. So, like a lot of people do their own covers and whatever in their home studio. So now it's not the matter of you know how to play the piano or your instrument, then it's okay. You need to know how to record yourself with your own
Mm-hmm.
home device. You know how to edit the video. You need to explore a lot of this kind of um, style of doing works. This is a trend now. I can say that.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, you need to go to the recording studio all the time, or you need to find a proper place. If you see TikTok, Instagram,
Mm.
even just you know, it's all about creativity now. So I would like to encourage the young ones to be more creative and to do your own music at home if possible, like wherever you can. Of course, to work as a professional musician, if you want to do the recording stuff or like want to do TV show or music album, you have to really plan everything and have a very good planning for yourself instead of financial wise or musicality wise. Like me, I think during the pandemic it really hits us a lot um,
Yeah.
for financial wise. So last time I was like that. Um, how to say after I graduate, right, I will just um, let passion be the top, let passion be the first place, because you know we are very passionate. Oh, after graduate I want to play music, I want to compose, I want to arrange, I want to perform. But really, financial part, we kind of forget about that, because that time we can earn and we can do a lot of stuff. But during pandemic, really, you can't perform, you can't really teach. Maybe some of the students drop. So you have to get a backup plan for yourself. I think as a musician, this is very important. That's why we see a lot of musicians like selling cakes,
I know
selling
exactly who
biscuit,
you're
like
talking about.
everything. So a lot. So
Yeah.
I think that's the way. If you want to be a full-time musician, be prepared with all this and try to find a not only one path for your income, a lot of path. So that's my advice. And of course, be passionate and practice. This is one of the things that we need to do as a musician. Yeah. So I think that's all. Be responsible and be efficient.
Yeah.
That's very important. Mm.
Thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom. And I'm really hoping that, for people that actually listen to this podcast, they would find a different way, maybe, to move on with their life and uh, to actually continue on their musical journey in however way they want.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
And on
Thank
that
you. Thank
note,
you for having me too.
yeah. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you wish for more words of wisdom from Li Peng, or even to ask her any questions about all the topics we've talked about today, you can shoot me an email at aminbob13@yahoo.com, and I'll either ask her or ask any guests to answer the questions on future episodes. Thank you so much.